When it comes to prepping for emergencies, canned food is hands down one of the smartest investments you can make. Why? It's affordable, ready to eat, and has an almost indefinite shelf life as long as the can is intact. You don't even need to heat it. Just pop it open and eat straight out of the can if you have to. It's the definition of convenience during tough times. Now, there are a couple of critical storage tips you need to follow to make sure your stockpile stays fresh for years. First, check every can to ensure the seal is still strong. No dents, no rust, no compromise. And second, store your cans in a location that avoids extreme temperatures. Keep them out of freezing conditions and don't expose them to heat above 85 degrees. Stick to this, and your canned goods will outlast just about any scenario you can imagine, even an apocalypse. That means, yes, you'll still be enjoying corned beef hash and hearty meals when the going gets rough. But here's the thing, not all canned foods are created equal. Some are absolutely essential to stockpile, while others may not be worth the space they take up. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 best types of canned foods you must have in your stash, and calling out 3 you're better off skipping altogether. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this! Point 1. Canned veggies. Canned vegetables are an absolute must-have when it comes to creating a reliable stockpile, and here's why. They're incredibly nutritious, long-lasting, and versatile. Fresh produce is fantastic, but not always practical for long-term storage or emergency situations. Here's the thing you probably didn't know. Studies show that canned vegetables, like French-style green beans or whole kernel corn, retain almost the same level of nutrition as fresh produce. That's right, you're not compromising on health benefits by opting for canned options. Take a look at the simplicity of the ingredients list. For example, French-style green beans. Typically, the can contains just 2 ingredients, green beans and water. Sometimes there's a bit of added salt, which is not a bad thing, especially for the average person. Many people worry about sodium intake, and if you have a medical reason like high blood pressure, you should absolutely follow your doctor's advice. But for the general population, that extra bit of salt can actually be beneficial, particularly in terms of maintaining your electrolyte balance during challenging times. When it comes to canned veggies, the variety is endless. Whether it's green beans, sweet peas, or even corn, a personal favorite of mine, there's no shortage of options to suit your taste. And because these veggies are sealed in a sterile environment, they can last indefinitely under proper storage conditions. That's what makes them one of the best options for stockpiling. Zero risk of spoilage for years to come. Beyond durability, canned vegetables are incredibly convenient. You can eat them straight out of the can, no cooking required. Trust me, there's something satisfying about digging into a can of sweet corn when you're short on time or resources. Or get creative. Use them to complement your meals, whether it's meat, rice, or other dishes. When times get tough, these cans of veggies aren't just functional. They could make all the difference in keeping your meals balanced and nutritious. If you want to build a strong, sustainable stockpile, start with canned vegetables. They're affordable, easy to store, and an essential source of nutrition that can help you see through any rough patch. Number 2, canned beans. Coming in strong at number 2 on the list of the best canned foods to stockpile is the ultimate pantry powerhouse, canned beans. These little gems are absolutely essential, and here's why. Beans aren't just food, they're a survival superfood. High in protein, packed with fiber, and loaded with important nutrients, they're a complete game changer when it comes to building a stockpile that will keep you going no matter what. Now, if we're talking about versatility, canned beans win again. One of my favorites? Bush's Vegetarian Baked Beans. They're already infused with a ton of flavor and juices, making them perfect for a quick and satisfying meal when you don't have time or resources to cook. But don't stop there! You've got plenty of options to suit your personal taste preferences. There's Lucky's chili beans for a bit of spice, dark red kidney beans for something hearty, or the humble black bean, a personal favorite of mine. How about you? Are you team black beans? But that's not all. Canned beans are also incredibly long-lasting. These things are built to last, as long as you keep an eye on the can's condition. Properly stored canned beans can hold up indefinitely. Yet here's the crucial piece of advice you need to remember. Over time, the texture will change. The beans may break down a bit, leaving you with a mix of soft beans and hearty, flavorful bean juice. And you know what? That's still excellent! That bean juiciness adds a delicious base to soups, stews, or even quick chili recipes. Plus, the nutrition remains intact, so you're still getting all that protein and goodness. When planning your emergency food supply or simply looking for reliable pantry staples, be decisive about stocking up on a variety of canned beans. The sheer versatility they bring to your survival meal plans makes them downright indispensable. Make no mistake, a healthy stash of beans is a must-have for any prepared household. Point 3. Canned fruit. All right, let's talk about canned fruit, our third must-have item for your emergency stockpile. Picture this scenario. It's Thanksgiving during the apocalypse, and you pull out a can of jellied cranberry sauce. Perfection, right? Maybe you've also got some peach slices, perhaps the yellow cling variety from Aldi, or even pineapple chunks from Great Value. All delicious, all reliable. But let's peel back the can lid on what you really need to know when stockpiling these sweet little treasures. Here's the deal. Years ago, probably some 15 years back, I learned a hard lesson when I started stockpiling those massive number 10 cans of peaches thinking, these will last forever. Spoiler alert, they do last a long time, but there's a catch. Take this one can of peaches I've got here. It was purchased 2 years ago, and its expiration date is way out in 2025. That's 3 more years of shelf life! Amazing, right? But this is where you need to pay attention. When it comes to acidic foods, especially fruits, there's a sneaky chemical interaction that happens between the food and the lining of the can. Now, the inside of the can is specially lined so your food doesn't actually touch the metal. This lining is meant to protect the food and keep it fresh. But over time, acidic fruits like peaches and pineapple can interact with that lining and cause a shift in flavor. The result? You open that can years later and your fruit tastes metallic. Not ruined, not inedible, but definitely metallic. And that brings me to my key advice for stockpiling canned fruit. Yes, they'll absolutely last a long time. I mean, this can could probably sit on my shelf until 2032 in an emergency. That's years past the best buy date. But if you're planning to rely on these foods, understand that the trade-off may be taste. By the time I eat those peaches mid-apocalypse, I might not be thrilled about the metallic tang, but I know the food itself is still good to eat. Safe and non-perishable. Canned fruit is a powerhouse addition to any emergency pantry. It's shelf-stable, rich in nutrients, and versatile. Just keep in mind that acidic fruits will hold up well nutritionally, but they might sacrifice a bit of their flavor over the long haul. If you're picky about taste, eat the more acidic fruit sooner rather than later. Either way, stock up now and give your future self one less thing to worry about. Number 4. Canned evaporated milk. All right, here's the deal with canned evaporated milk. I've got to put this in its own special category because honestly, it's a bit of a mystery.
What's going on with you, evaporated milk?
For starters, it's sterile, completely free of bacteria, fungi, or anything else that would typically make it go bad quickly. It's an interesting product, to say the least. Now, they usually say canned evaporated milk is good for about a year, and you can easily stretch that a few months past the printed expiration date. But, and this is important, I wouldn't label it as something that lasts forever.
If you're thinking long-term stockpile solution, this might not be your best bet.
It'll hold up pretty well, but only to a point. I'd say you could count on it lasting a couple of extra months after its expiration date, but eventually it starts to break down. And here's the warning sign to watch for when using it after that point. If you pop open a can and instead of being smooth and creamy, it's chunky or it smells off, throw it out immediately. No saving it. Those are clear signs it's gone bad, and trust me, you don't want to risk food poisoning. I suspect it's something to do with enzymes in the milk that slowly start breaking it down over time, even in the can. That makes evaporated milk a bit unpredictable compared to other canned goods. Full transparency here, it's just not my top recommendation for super long-term storage. If you're planning for emergencies or really extended stockpiles, I would steer you toward powdered milk instead. Powdered milk has a much better shelf life and can last years if stored properly. Plus, it's more versatile for cooking and drinking. Canned evaporated milk can have its place in a short-term stockpile. It's great for recipes, coffee, or as a cream substitute, but know its limits. Stock up wisely and don't rely too heavily on it for the long haul. On to the next item, number 5. Canned meat, corned beef hash, and more. When it comes to stockpiling food for survival or emergencies, canned meat is an absolute must-have. Whether you're prepping for tough times or just want a reliable backup in your pantry, canned meat provides a powerhouse of protein and valuable nutrients that are vital for energy and sustenance. One of my personal favorites? Corned beef hash? Now, technically, this isn't just meat. It's a savory blend of corned beef mixed with potatoes and spices. But trust me, it's a winner. You can eat it straight out of the can if you have to, but warming it up takes the flavor to the next level. It's filling, satisfying, and a great morale booster when times get tough.
But corned beef hash is just the beginning. There are tons of canned meat options to explore.
Take Spam, for example.
I know it's not for everyone, but it has its fans.
While Spam isn't my go-to, I'm all in when it comes to canned chicken. It's not exactly gourmet, but when paired with rice, pasta, or veggies, it becomes an incredibly versatile and nourishing meal. Straight out of the can, canned chicken might not win any awards for presentation, but it's still a reliable source of protein. And when push comes to shove, nutrition and energy are what really matter. Now, who's a fan of canned corned beef? This is a game changer.
It's flavorful, hearty, and ready to eat anytime.
And speaking of flavor-packed options, we can't forget sardines. I'll admit, seeing entire little fish in a can might be a bit off-putting at first. But once you get past that visual, sardines are downright delicious and packed with healthy fats and omega-3s. They're a fantastic addition to your stockpile, and more importantly, they last forever. Canned turkey is another great option, though it's not as commonly talked about. It's similar to canned chicken, but usually comes in larger cans, offering more bang for your buck. While I still love cooking a traditional turkey meal, having canned turkey on hand is a smart move for long-term storage, even though it tends to run a bit pricier. And of course, we can't talk about canned meat without mentioning the king of all pantry essentials, canned tuna. Canned tuna is incredibly convenient and can last for decades if stored properly. After 30 years, the texture might be a bit softer, but as long as the can remains sealed, it's still perfectly edible and nutritious. No bacteria, no fungus, no risk of spoilage. That's the beauty of sealed canned foods. Whatever your storing goals may be, proteins like tuna are absolute survival staples.
If you're on a keto diet, like we are, canned meats are especially valuable.
They're rich in protein, adaptable to your meals, and keep you stocked up on essential nutrients when other food sources might run low. If you're serious about preparing for the unexpected, make sure you're prioritizing your proteins. They're critical for survival, energy, and overall well-being. Canned goods, like corned beef hash, chicken, turkey, tuna, and sardines, are durable, versatile, and always there when you need them. Stock these and you're ready for anything. Number 6, canned potatoes. These may not immediately come to mind when thinking of canned goods to stockpile, but trust me, they deserve a spot on your shelf.
Some people classify potatoes as vegetables, but they're really in a league of their own.
That's why I've given them a separate shout-out here. We like to pick these up at Aldi whenever we can, and they've truly proven their worth as a versatile, long-lasting staple. When the pandemic hit, I remember telling Ashley, we should try canned potatoes and see if they're any good. And honestly, we were pleasantly surprised. These are actual whole potatoes packed into a can, making them perfect for a ton of uses. Sure, we're on keto now, so potatoes are off the table for us, but if you're still including them in your meals, this is a product worth stocking up on. The advantages of canned potatoes are numerous. They're fantastic for recipes like potato salad, casseroles, soups, or even just roasting them up with some seasoning for a quick side. And if you're in the mood for mashed potatoes, guess what? You can easily go that route too. Just mash them up and season as you like. The convenient size of these cans makes them ideal for single meals or couples, so you won't waste a bit. One of the biggest reasons I recommend canned potatoes is their unbeatable shelf life. These cans will last almost indefinitely if stored properly, and that makes them a solid option for any long-term pantry. Whether you're prepping for emergencies, stocking up for convenience, or simply looking to add variety to your canned goods, canned potatoes are a must-have. Don't underestimate how versatile and practical they are. You'll thank yourself later. Number 7. Canned soups and chilies. Let's talk about one of the must-haves for your stockpile, chili. Specifically, Amy's chili. It's a top pick for a reason. Whether you prefer medium, spicy, or even the more subtle flavors, Amy's chili delivers every time.
Why do I love it?
Because it's not just delicious, it's versatile. Picture this. You've managed to cook some rice during an emergency or survival scenario. Now add some of that spicy Amy's chili on top. Suddenly you've got a comforting, satisfying meal that beats plain rice any day. And the best part? Canned chili lasts practically forever, making it an essential in long-term prepping. But we're not stopping at chili. Canned soups deserve their own spotlight too. Ever heard the saying, soup is the cure when you're sick? Well, it rings true, at least in my experience. That's why I always make sure to have plenty of soups in my stockpile. My go-to pick? Campbell's Well Yes soups. Why? Because they're packed with natural ingredients and free from all the unnecessary preservatives you often find in other options. And yes, we also keep some of the budget-friendly cans from Aldi Perfect for variety and affordability. But the quality of Well Yes soups stands out. Whether you're under the weather, need a quick meal, or just want something packed with electrolytes to keep you going, canned soups are a lifesaver. Soups and chilies should absolutely be their own category in any stockpile. They add that much-needed variety of flavor, and they're easy to prepare when you're tired or low on resources. Now, people often ask me, is a freeze dryer worth it? Look, I love our freeze dryer. We use it to preserve leftovers, and it's a game changer for sure. But at $3,000, that's a hefty investment. Think about how many cans of Amy's chili, delicious peas, sweet corn, or hearty corned beef hash you could buy for that same amount. Cans are affordable, lasting, and just plain practical. Trust me, stock up on soups and chilies, you'll thank yourself later.
Number 8. Canned tomatoes.
Canned tomatoes are an essential item to stockpile, and for good reason. These versatile cans are acidic, which helps preserve their quality for an extended period. Petite diced tomatoes, tomato paste, or even various tomato-based soups fall under this category. While you could group tomato soup with other canned soups, its high acidity makes tomato-based products stand out from the rest. However, keep in mind that over time, the acid content can interact with the metal in the can, sometimes leading to a slightly metallic taste. But rest assured, they remain perfectly safe and edible, even after their best-by date has passed. Take tomato paste, for example. These little cans are a game-changer in the kitchen. With just a bit of water and your favorite spices, you can create a rich, flavorful sauce in minutes. They're incredibly convenient, which is why we always keep a stash of them on hand. Surprisingly, even if the label shows a best-by date from a couple of years ago, most canned tomato products hold up well. Recently, we've used cans that expired back in 2021. They tasted just as good as they did when they were fresh off the shelf. This is why canned tomatoes are one of the best items to include in your stockpile. Their longer shelf life, even beyond their labeled best-by date, combined with their outstanding versatility in cooking, makes them invaluable. Whether you're making soups, sauces, or stews, canned tomatoes are a key ingredient you'll always want in your pantry. Just be prepared for that slight metallic flavor over time. It's a minor downside to an otherwise must-have product. These cans are reliable, practical, and a top-tier choice for long-term food storage. In conclusion, stocking up on the best canned foods is an excellent way to ensure you're prepared for emergencies, busy days, or times when fresh ingredients aren't easily accessible. From versatile staples like canned tomatoes and potatoes to hearty options like soups and chilies, these items offer convenience, long shelf lives, and adaptability for countless meals. With a well-rounded canned food stockpile, you'll have peace of mind knowing you can create satisfying, nutritious dishes no matter the circumstances. Start building your pantry today. You'll be glad you did.